Good morning, Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Thanks so much for joining us. From Angeles City, Clark International Airport, Philippines, to Bangkok, Thailand, serving out, I can't even pronounce the name of the airport, the main one. All right. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Round trip. Let's talk about it.
Why'd you have to go? I guess this world's too slow for you. I think there's beauty in the gray, the cold, but you just want the gold. And there's no way I can beat it, cause I got no chance, no chance when it comes to her. She got the glitter and the fame, and I just wasn't enough.
Okay, so Arlen and I went to Thailand to take care of some personal business. Things that we had three things we wanted to accomplish, none of which had anything to do with YouTube at all. This particular video is about our experience in travel. Something that maybe it will help you, maybe you should understand it, maybe you would want to understand why we chose what we did and the results. So let's get started real quick. First off, Clark International Airport, Mabalacat, Angeles City. All right. From the time we walked through the front doors to the check-in counter, international flight, so you have to check in to get a boarding pass. We had two pieces of luggage we had to drop. We had one carry aboard, two pieces of luggage. Um, so you've got to show your passport to get the actual boarding pass. All right. So from the time we go into the building to the check-in counter, go through the line, get checked in, get our boarding passes, drop two bags, which were underweight. Not the same story coming back, I assure you. All right. To immigration, security, and then immigration, or immigration, then security. I can't remember which. Piece of cake. I mean, I got to tell you, yeah, we could have booked our tickets to Bangkok for about $100 or so cheaper, worth every penny to go through Clark to avoid. I mean, I honestly caution all of you, any of you, traveling into the Philippines to avoid Manila, Naiya, all right, Nino Aquino International Airport at all costs. There's a reason it is rated the worst airport in the world, the worst international airport in the world, or it's in the top three every year for years now. It's a disaster. Immigration's a disaster. The lines, the queuing, everything that goes along with it, an absolute disaster. So we get checked in. We go to our gate. What a breeze Clark is. I mean, it's just a breeze. Not so much to do once you're on the international side. There's a couple of coffee shops. There's some souvenir stores, things like that. You can get snacks. You can get sandwiches. You can get whatever. But the selection isn't big and it isn't great. And that's not what it's there for. I really and truly hope, because they're adding more flights to Clark, more airlines are going in and out of Clark now, that things don't change. I know they will, but let's hope they don't. That's the good. Bangkok, another extraordinary experience. Now, this is not our first time around going into Thailand, and it has been this way every time. You get off the plane, you take your passport, you show it to immigration, 30 seconds later, you're done. All right? Piece of cake. You go get your bags, you go through the customs declaration, piece of cake. Nothing to it. The good. It's just extraordinary. You cannot beat it. The bad. Well, you know what the bad is? The bad is Bangkok is a monster international airport. It is huge. You will walk. It is literally over a mile, all right, to get from where you get off the plane, from the time you deboard to immigration to customs to bags, or to bags then customs, all right, and then to the driver's area. Now, we had a private driver waiting for us, service that we've used. I'll try and put the information up as well. We highly suggest this guy. Now, we ended up, we were going to Pattaya. Now, the timing of the flights were not great. We didn't get in until like 10 o'clock at night. We didn't get to Pattaya until midnight to check into the hotel. But, you know, since then, literally in the past 2 weeks, now they've added additional flights to Pattaya. I'm sorry, to Bangkok on multiple airlines, and we flew Cebu Pacific. Okay? So the bad, it's a long walk. If you are physically impaired, or you don't know how well you're going to, or how long it's going to take you, or the distress you're going to have making that walk, get a wheelchair. It's that simple. Request it when you check in at your departure. So, the bad. Well, the bad is what it is. All right. There are two things that happened here. The first one is, let's talk about gate lice and seat squatters. Now, we've seen this on the news, and I got to tell you, I was a very big frequent flyer in the United States many years ago. Gate lice have always been around. And in Asia, when they get on a plane, you would think they are moving their house. There's very little regulation or enforcement of the one carry-on, one personal item. These people are going to have a big carry-on that barely fits, if at all. All right. They may have a rucksack, they may have a backpack in addition to that, and then a purse, and then another big bag of whatever. I mean, they're just loaded with stuff. Gate lice don't bother me. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't bother me. Your seat is assigned. And if indeed what you have isn't worthy enough to go into baggage, you know, it is what it is. We try and check as much as we can. We check bags and we deal with it. So you wait an extra 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, when you get to your destination for your bags to show up. Except at Manila, where you can wait as much as an hour for your bags to show up from an international flight. All of that being said, gate lice, seat squatters. I've never had or encountered this, but we've seen it in the news until this trip. In this trip, there was a couple, which later on, as I saw that they were getting their paperwork together when we were landing, they were a British couple. They were carrying British passports. They were sitting in front of us. So he's in the aisle seat on one side of the aisle. She's in the aisle seat of the other side of the aisle. A young Filipino girl comes, tells the woman, "Hey, I think you're in my seat." And the woman says, "Well, you know, we've got both of these, and my husband is sitting over there. If you don't mind, would you take the window, because there'll be nobody in between us, and you know, you'll have plenty of room." So I guess the girl agrees, not understanding the ramifications of what's going to happen. Shortly thereafter, the seat that the guy is in, another gentleman comes by and says, "Hey, I think, you might be in the wrong seat." Sure enough, he was in the aisle seat, or they had booked a window and center, and they tried to take those two aisle seats. They got away with it with the girl, okay? And the wife ended up in the center, and she whined and cried about it the whole damn flight, 3 hours and a half. Okay. I listened to her bitch to her husband about it, and could we try and move? But the flight was full. There wasn't any moving to it at all. So, seat squatters, have you ever encountered that? Because it's something new to us, that's for sure. The second part of the bad, remember I said it's a long haul? Well, on our way to the airport from Pattaya, leaving Thailand, there were four of us. We were friends, and they rented a van, really, cushy van. And about 20 or 30 miles before we got to the airport, and boom, we hear this loud noise, feel this big thump and everything else. But the car is still driving, everything goes. He pulls over. To make another long story short, I don't know what happened. Those of you that are mechanically inclined, the wheel is now tilted about 30 degrees inward into the wheel well. Something's broken somewhere. So he crawls to a rest area. They have another van come pick us up, and we are like running crazy late now. For those of you that don't know, most of these airlines share check-in counters with each other. So it's, you'll see it on your ticket. It says check-in is closed 1 hour prior to the flight. We made it with 3 or 4 minutes to spare. Now, whether they would have closed before we got there, I have no idea. But I mean, we walked up, everybody was gone as far as passengers go. We barely made it. And then it's another mile and a half, it seems like, walk to the actual gate. You've got to get through security. You got to get through customs. Very quick, very easy, simple, nothing to it. Got it done. All right. That's the bad, is that you need to make sure that 2 hours prior isn't enough in case something happens to your transportation. Otherwise, we had a great, delightful trip. But have you encountered gate lice and seat squatters? And what do you think about the fact that they don't enforce the carry-on situation? Because we could go on and on about that. But we'd like to kind of know. Both of those airports are well worth it. Piece of cake. Had a great time. Got everything done we needed to get done while we were in Bangkok and in Pattaya. And that's just the way it works. So we're back, and we're back at it. Thanks so much. Please do subscribe, hit the thumbs up, and let us know.